Everybody freeze. There we go. That was Jimmy's made up one. We're going to continue reading All Rise for the Honorable Perry T. Cook. So earlier, we had a chapter called Jessica. Remember, and it gave us a lot of information, and it was about Perry's mom, whose name is Jessica, and it was told from her point of view. Now, I want you guys to pay attention because a lot of these these chapters, they switch who is telling the story. So most of it is told by Perry, but this chapter is going to be told by Jessica, his mom. Troy, make a better choice, please. And so sometimes it'll tell you by naming the chapter after the person that is telling it, but sometimes it won't. And so we've got to pay attention and listen to those details to see if we can figure out who is telling us each chapter and each story, okay? So this is chapter 9, and once again, it's also named Jessica. So right there, we're thinking, ooh, that's probably told by Perry's mom, Jessica. Jessica Cook had 2 weighty pieces of news on her mind all afternoon. She carried them. I need Louise to go back to the seat. Thank you. Both to the dinner table. The first was the incident at Perry's school, the business of the assistance card for his lunches. The school had called to apologize for what happened. They said she should please know that the privacy of every student was the utmost importance to them, and Perry should feel no stigma or discomfort using the card. Jessica thought, oh, that's fine. Don't you know? No, I'm in jail. Being outed for an assistance card is nothing to my kid. Instead, she squelched her sarcasm and thanked them for the call. Perry hadn't said anything about the card. He'd been fairly quiet all evening, watching the jump game in the common, then sharing the snack of steamed broccoli with her in the Block C kitchenette. They had joked about how they were spoiling their supper on the healthiest thing they'd eaten all day. Sad truth. But her boy was on to her. He sat close to her at dinner, his huge blue eyes searching her face for the big towel. Harry always knew there was a stink when there was a stink in the clink. He just didn't know the details, and he knew not to ask. He'd been raised to respect everyone's privacy at Blue River, including his mother's. The second piece of burdensome news had come from Warren Doherty in another private meeting in her office just hours ago, and it was far more haunting. I'm afraid, the warden had said, that we've finally come upon the one person who knows about my unusual arrangement as Perry's foster caregiver and is unwilling to look the other way. Jessica's breath has collapsed into her chest. But who? After all this time, why now? How bad is this? She was certain she had pondered the words, not spoken them, yet it seemed the warden had heard. We have to stay calm. I'm on this, and I'll keep you informed. I promise you. Sitting at dinner now with Perry and a cluster of female residents, Jessica struggled on the present. Sweeps of cold fear overtook her. She closed her eyes and let deep breaths slide over her. Shake it off. Eat your supper with your beautiful kid. Jessica ran her hands along Perry's back where he sat beside her. He was wearing one of the new back-to-school shirts she'd sent Maya Rubin to buy. It'd taken her the better part of 2 prison paychecks. But oh, nice knit, nice fit. At least something was in place. Chapter 10. Excuse me, ladies. It is not your chit-chat time. We are reading. Right? Okay. Chapter 10. Sitting next to scissors. I can't believe we can't go. Mrs. Shoshona is complaining at the dinner table. Miss Shoshona is complaining at the dinner table. It's not fair, not fair. We made all the decorations. That's us. She pats her chest with the flat of her hand. Miss Shoshona has long, skinny arms and sharp elbows. that she never stops moving. We leave a lot of space around her at the table, right? Because they're afraid of being jabbed by her sharp elbows. Sitting with her can be like sitting next to a pair of scissors. Oh, now I get the chapter reference, right? Mom said, Miss Shoshona is one of the biggest challenges here at the Blue River. Shoshona thinks everything is not fair. Nothing bugs Mom more. When Shoshona first got here, she mouthed off about everything, from the shower schedule to the sporks in the cafeteria. You see this? You all, she held her spork up high. Know what this is? I'll tell you what, this is unnecessary. That's what. They can give me real flatware. I'm no stabber. Mom told her, we're all nonviolent, Shoshona. Sporks are practical, one utensil, easy to wash. Then she added, and isn't it your job in the kitchen to wrap napkins around sporks? 200 of them a day, she answered with a waggle. That's a lot of sporks, said Mom. You better find some love for those until you get promoted. Yeah, I find some love for my big $8 a week, Shona said. I can't even get a little jar of that chocolate spread at the commissary. It's not fair. One day, Mrs. Shona brought up the fact that Mom got to have me with her Blue River. What's up with that? But Warren Daugherty was quick, saying, Shoshona, if you know of a facility where you think things would be more fair, you let me know. I'll get you transferred. That shut her down in a blink. She's no dope. Anybody would choose Blue River in a heartbeat. Anybody who has to be in a prison. Tonight, so right there it said, Miss Shoshona brought up the fact that Mom got to have her with me at Blue River. So right there, we are certain that it is now Perry telling the story, right? We're back to Perry being the one who's telling the story. So we've got to pay attention. And that's one of the reasons I'm glad you guys chose this book, just because we get to practice figuring out who is telling the story at different pieces. Troy, go throw that away. Okay, and hopefully we'll get to read other chapter books too, but we get to practice. And second graders, you guys better be paying attention because this is one of your standards also. Okay, we get to practice figuring out who's telling the story at different parts. Okay, so this is a really good careful, Hayden, you almost splashed your neighbor with that. This is a really good time to figure out who is telling the story, okay? Tonight, the Shauna's wine-o-meter is all cranked up because of Dad's and Daughter's dance. It's the first one ever. Warren Daugherty has decided to try it for the men at Blue River, the ones who are dads. Everyone is going to knock off work early on Friday afternoon to get ready. We should all get to go. They got a suit for every guy. Did you hear that? All donated. Shoot. We never get to see him looking fine like that. I'm so sick of blue shirts, she said. I don't care so much about him, said Mrs. DeCoco, flapping her hands. It's all the little girls I want to see, little ones like my grandbabies. They're going to come in wearing their dresses and looking adorable like tiny princesses. Well, Miss Gina said, she has dark, crusty eyelashes that look like they'll break when she blinks. I wish it could dance. I wish it could be a dance for all of us, too. Yeah, Shoshona whirls her knobby fingers in the air. That could happen someday, Mom said. You never know. The warden is always working on new. Jessica, you're just on the other side about everything around here, Shoshona said. Hey, no, I'm not, said Mom, shaking her head. It's hard as heck, but I'm trying not to think about sides here. Well, that's because you're due to get out, Shoshona curled a lip at Mom. She sits back hard in her chair, folds her arms. It's 2 years since I've seen a guy all dressed up all nice. Mom makes a tiny sound in her throat like she's kind of agreeing with Shoshona on that point. Well, I'd love to have eyes on the event too, Mom says, but the dance is for the guys, to remind them for what's waiting on the outside. She sounds drifty. Remind them to keep on doing the right thing, keep on rising up, even on the bleak days. I'm glad one of you gets that. Warren Daugherty had done that thing where she strolls up out of nowhere with like some life-size wind-up toy. She stands at the end of the table with her clipboard tucked in her elbow and her pen in her hand. Miss Shoshona straightens her spine and puts both hands up. I get it too, she says. Miss Gina rolls her eyes. Mrs. DeCoco lets out a laugh and pushes at her silver hair. That dance is going to be emotional, Warren Daugherty says, and emotions are fine. We are human, but for this, the fathers deserve some privacy. She looks over the top of her eyeglasses and pokes her pen at the group like she's popping a balloon. End of discussion, she says. Then she looks at me. So, Perry, good day at the new school? Yes, I say. I'm glad to hear it, she says. If you need me, come see me. Any problems, just tell me. I'm guessing someone told her about my unswipeable lunch card. When something like that goes wrong for me on the outside, the warden gets it fixed for me in no time. But the only thing I want to know tonight is what's up with Mom. I can't ask that question right here and right now because the warden is already motoring through a turn. Then she's gone. Miss Shoshona plunks her elbow on the table. Okay, so we can't go to the dance. A grin creeps across her face. But Perry can. She jabbed a finger at me. Mom says, first of all, don't point at my kid. Second of all, he's not a dad or a daughter. But he's a photographer. He's got that camera. Mrs. Shona is pointing at me again. Mom gives her a wicked look, like she'd like to grab that finger. Pictures would be nice, Miss Gina says. And Mrs. DeCoco liked the idea too. So do it, Perry. Mrs. Shona pumps her skinny arms and dances in her seat. She sings, have a party, be a dancer. Perry does have a nice camera, says Mom. She makes a rectangle with her fingers and her thumbs. It's tiny, and I love how you can view the shots right on the screen. It's the most brilliant thing. That's called digital, says Shoshona. She puts a long, bony finger on Mom's face. Don't you know? Digital. Mom looks up. Right. Cameras are one of those things that have changed a lot in 12 years, Mom reminds her. What do you say, Perry? Miss Gina pretends to hold a camera to her eye. She clicks down with one finger and shuts one furry eyelash. Can I, Mom? If the warden says you may, and if you want to. She always lets me decide. I'm the guy with the most freedom at Blue River. I try to deliver. All right, so that's our chapter. I want to talk to you again. Remember, Amy, I need those gloves to come off and go in your backpack. They are not toys. They need to be put away. Louise, stay with you, please. Put them in your pocket or something, okay? Yeah, the other one. All right. Who remembers what it means to be fiction? What is fiction? Hayden?
It means that it's make-believe.
It means that it's make-believe. Very good, Hayden. Kiss your brain. Pat yourselves on the back. Fiction means made up and make-believe. Non-fiction. Who knows what that is? Miss Miranda? Oh, we just said fiction is not real. Help her out, Samuel. It is real. So what we say is fiction means it's made up and make-believe. Non-fiction would then be it's not made up, not make-believe. Does that make sense? And so we do need to remember that this story is fiction, right? It's not the truth, but it is kind of funny to think about a kid being at this prison with his mom and how he helps the residents be better people, okay? But it is 100% fiction. It's made up and make-believe. All right, let me stop my recording.